All hail the Clicks crew! Alright, guys, today we're talking about the team that I ran for the ROC team and singles nationals, the Rock Cup Online, first major online tournament. They have had, ROC qualifiers and stuff like that online, but this is the first national championship they've ever had. To start off, this is just on my team. I'm not really going to talk about the tournament or anything like that, other than that I had a lot of fun for both events. If you guys want to see a video where I talk specifically about the tournament, my thoughts on it, go ahead and put that in the comments below. And if there's, I don't know, 30 comments about it or something, I'll do a video on it. But anyway, so the team I ended up running was a +7 Justice League Unlimited, or Justice League team. The reason that I did that was because, and I ran the same team basically except for one sideline figure for both events because I knew I wasn't going to have time to practice basically two different teams. So I selected basically a DC team, even though I'm a Marvel guy, because one, I really like the mechanic, and two, the other two members on my team really wanted to run some Marvel heavy ideas, and there was going to be a lot of overlap with figures and stuff like that, and I didn't want to have to practice two teams, so this is what I came up with. Basically, to start off with, this is an Alpha Strike team. You've probably seen something similar to it. I don't think I'm the first one to do this, or first one to compete with it, but anyway, it's interesting nonetheless. I had a lot of fun with it. I know the one character I used, nobody else did. That's not always a good thing, but it's what I did. So to the center around the team for the Alpha Strike is this hot girl, the LE from Justice League Unlimited number 100. She has a 12 movement with charge, and she gives -1 to your defenses as long as she has that. So that's pretty bad, but she's got an 11 for 4. So we're good there. But she does have the reason why you would have her on her team is she has a trait where if you have I forget, let's see here, how many people you got to have on your team to trigger this thing. So you have speed +2, but only if your force has 4 or more characters with the Justice League keyword. For all friendly characters that can use this trait, action total +1. So that's in addition to any leadership or anything like that you have. So the cool thing about this team is it had 5 actions, which I thought was really interesting, and it was really useful. It came up more times than I thought it was going to. I didn't think I was going to end up using that many actions, but you find when you have access to them, you do use them. So she gets a +2 movement, so she's actually a 14. So that's all well and good. You perplex her up 1 to 15. Now you're like, wow, that's pretty far swing by themselves. So what I put with her to overcome, to make her a better Alpha Striker, because she has 0 range, so you have to, move and up close attack, is I gave her the Exospecs. And this was basically for hypersonic speed. So she has effectively a natural 14 hypersonic speed, and then you can get her up to a 15, and that's just basically how that goes right there. So that's there. And what I would do is, I'll explain how you'd work the team here in a minute. But so that would be how I'd get out there. So what would I do to go along with this? Because that's, she's an okay character. I'd say she's a secondary attacker maybe. But that's not going to win you a game by itself. So what I did was I paired her up with 2 other figures. Micron from Justice League Unlimited and the Atom from Justice League Unlimited. And it's because they both have interesting traits, or specials. I forget. Are they traits or specials? I think specials. But so we'll start off with Micron, where if he chooses tiny size, he gets to use his hitchhiker trait. where Micron's adjacent, when Micron's tiny size, if an adjacent character is given a move or power action after resolutions, you may place Micron adjacent to that character. Okay, and then we'll look at the Atom. Ride along undetected. Leap, climb, stealth. When an adjacent character is given a move or power action after resolutions, you may place the Atom adjacent to that character. So you see where we're going with this. She hypersonics out 14. You start these guys off adjacent to her. She does her 14. You place these guys adjacent to her. Then you get two other attackers right there. So you're effectively getting 3 attacks. So it's after resolution. So the empower that Micron brings to the table, you're not getting anything for Hawk Girl, but the Atom will get that +1 to damage for close attacks if he's adjacent to Micron. And then also, since it's placing, you still get your actions, so you can still do your outwit with the Atom, which is something I was typically doing. You can use his you can decide how to use his perplex once you get there. Depending on how you place Micron, you can still use his close combat expert, so you can get him up +2 to attack or +2 to damage or 1 and 1. So and then you've got Micron. So just between Micron and the Atom, you could get Micron up to a 14 attack for 3 damage if you really wanted to hit, or you could keep that 11 and do 6 damage, which is pretty good. And then you've still got Micron with his 10 for 2 with precision strike. I use that typically on like colossal retaliators and stuff like that had impervious, where I just wanted to get through it. So you see this, and we're like, okay, well, what if we need we need more perplex than that, because we want to really, the point of an alpha strike is to make it so that your opponent can't recover. You've done so much damage that they can't recover. So what I did is I reached for one of the cheapest perplexers for Justice League, and it was Billy Batson at 20 points. So running Billy at 20 points was a good deal. It gets you that perplex and a stop click. So it's really tough for a lot of opponents to get through them. Probably the first couple rounds, at least during singles, there were people that forgot about the stop click when they hit them. So get you perplex. It's somebody that can absorb the theme probs pretty easily because he has willpower. So that's good there. And then I was like, well, I want a way to kind of extend my range. 15 is pretty long, but what if I need to go coast to coast, or else they're going to get me? I got to get them before they get me. So what I chose for that is the reality gem. And in version 1.0, it did not go on Billy Batson. But after about 4 or 5 games of practice, I realized that Billy is who needs this. So Billy, as you know, after click 1, loses his perplex. So this is a good way to maintain that perplex while gaining the additional utility of telekinesis on him. So I thought that was a really good combo. I got a lot of use out of it. So we did that. So the next thing we had is, if I'm running a DC team, you all know who I'm into this, and it's Zatanna. Now, I played her at 50 points because I wanted the +7. I felt like +6 kind of made me average for winning maps. I felt like +7 made it so that I was going to win the majority of my maps. And between both events, I only lost 1 map roll. So that goes to show you that the +7 was important. But she still brings perplex and probability control to the table. She's got a 10 attack with Psychic Blast. So, she's a decent secondary attacker, but she's here for those support powers. She originally is who had the reality gem, so I was getting 75 point Zatanna for kind of like a toned down version for 60, but I was finding that I wanted to attack with her and then TK something else, so I was like, let's just split these up. So that's what I did. So we've got Zatanna right there. Then I was like, okay, I could use some more modifiers, because these guys, like, you look at the Atom, he's got a 10-2, a 10 attack, 2 damage, she goes down to an 11-3. He's got an 11-3. So some more modifiers are always good. Plus, I needed a way to get turn 1 equip both my equipments. So what I did for the one was Stargirl at actually this would be kind of like this. I'm trying to set it up so that it's like how it was for the matches. Is I had Stargirl over here, and so she has starts off with perplex, so stat modifier, and she's got a 9 movement with sidestep, so she was able to move out, pick up the light object, and then sidestep, shimmy in place to drop it, and have Hawk Girl is who she'd generally have. She'd have the exospecs to drop him a Hawk Girl spot who would equip it. So turn 1, I've got my exospecs, which is the main thing I need to make this team work. I need the exospecs. I can kind of limp along. If I didn't have them, I could make Hawk Girl just move out 15 and then have just the Atom and Micron attack, but that's not maximizing what we got going on here. So she was there, and then she's got a stop click on click 2. She's only got 2 clicks on her dial, but it does have Pulse Wave, and it's a stop click. So running shot, Pulse Wave, stop click for 30 points I felt like was good. And then the last onboard figure was Stripe at 35 points. I liked him because he had a perplex that could be a unique modifier plus 2 perplex if you made your leadership roll. Plus he has leadership, and he has sidestep, and he's a flyer also, so he could carry around some people that needed carrying around. And that 3 damage actually was really nice for some things. So he's on here for his perplex and his leadership. So those are the on-board components of the team. And then off-board, I just had, and I never once had an occasion to bring these guys in. I had Firestorm, Batman, Green Lantern, the Flash, and then in singles, I had Black Vulcan, and when I wasn't in singles, I did not have Black Vulcan, because I had a team member who said he wanted to use them. So, and given that I didn't really ever have a chance to call them in, because I didn't have any crit misses. I had 1 crit miss in all my games, and it was the last attack of the thing, so it didn't even matter. So when I brought him in, it was last action, so it didn't matter. But yeah, so that is the onboard stuff. So let's go ahead and explain how this team works, or give an idea. So this is the general setup. This is how I'd set up in my starting area. And what I would do is I'd have Stargirl go out, pick up the exospecs, drop them under Hawk Girl, give her a power action to equip. Have Stripe go out, pick up the reality gem, bring them back, drop them under Billy, give him a power action to equip. So that was 4 actions. Then I would use my perplexes. I was generally having Stargirl and the Atom perplex up their own defenses. I was having Zatanna perplex up Hawkgirl's defense. Stripe perplexing up his own defense. Billy perplexing up Micron's defense. And the cool thing about Stripe is that he also has defend as part of his defense. So that's why we're not really going to worry about, why I wasn't worrying about perplexing up Billy's defense, because he had an 18 and he has a stop click, and he wasn't losing anything by going to that stop click. So I was like, let's not worry about perplexing up his defense. Nobody that I played was able to travel coast to coast, so it wasn't really an issue. But just it's good practice to perplex up your defenses, even if you don't think you really need it. So then the turn 2 would typically, I would roll for leadership with Stripe. I would always roll for leadership with Stripe, even if I didn't need it, because I'm trying to get that +2 perplex out of him. And then what I would typically do is move everybody up, basically sidestep up to where, Stargirl would carry the Atom, Hawkgirl would carry Zatanna, Stripe would actually carry Billy Batson, and then Micron would just sidestep up himself because he has sidestep. And then I would just kind of shimmy in place with Hot Girl, ignoring her willpower, which would get her to that to the next click where she loses that obnoxious defense power. So she ends up with actually better stats overall, except for the -1 to damage. But I'll take a 20 defense up close any day over a 4 damage. So there was that. Now it didn't ever come up, but if I knew my opponent was going to attack me turn 2, what I would do is I wouldn't just shimmy in place with Hawk Girl. I would just pick hypersonic speed, hypersonic out there. It still got me off that click. I still have access to my 2 follow-up attacks, so it wasn't a big deal. So turn 4, I would turn 3, I would roll for my leadership and my JLU. So I have a lot of Justice League Unlimited trait on this, which is you roll a 6 and you can remove a token from anybody with the Justice League keyword that's 100 points or less on the board. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4 Justice League Unlimited rolls plus a leadership roll. So I was pretty likely to pull at least 1 token off a turn. And if I could get 1 token off Hawk Girl, that would mean that turn 4 I was able to attack. And again, nobody was making it to me by turn 4 and 5. A lot of people they weren't slow playing, but there were a lot of people that were kind of taking their time getting down the board. So I had all the turns I wanted to make sure my actions were lining up and stuff like that. So then what I would do is I had one game where I put a perplex into her movement. But other than that, I didn't ever perplex up Hawk Girl. What I would do is I would perplex up Micron's attack by 2 with, depending on how Stripe's roll went, it would either be his attack by 2 and his damage by 1, or just his attack by 2. And then the Atom would get his attack perplexed up by 2, because again, he gets +1 from the Empower from Micron for his damage, plus he's really just here to try to make some damage stick on an impervious figure or something like that. It's only 1 click long anyway. So then I'd hypersonic out my 14, or whatever movement I needed to get there. 14 by turn 4 is almost always enough. And again, we talked about that I could sidestep out of the way with Stripe if I wanted to after I did my perplexes. TK Hawk Girl out 6, and then if I set it up the turn before where I knew I was going to have to do that, have the Atom and Micron sitting out there, those 6 squares away, so that when she took her power action to use hypersonic speed, they could get taken along for the ride. So if you did 15 plus 6, that's 21. You've crossed the board at that point. And then you've brought these other people with you. So I had the ability to travel coast to coast. I just didn't have to make good on it. So anyway, you'd hypersonic out. You'd make your initial attack. It doesn't really matter if it hit or not. I would try to kind of go after like a secondary person or something I was pretty sure she could KO, just to get that out of the way. And then I would kind of, if I had the 1 movement, I'd hypersonic breakaway to just be 1 back so that I could set Micron and the Atom in front of me, and then they would attack. And Micron at that point was generally swinging with a 13 for either 5 or 6 damage. If they had like a really high defense, like a 20 or something like that, I put the one of the perplexes into another perplex into attack to get them up to 14, because we want to hit. If we can't hit, we can't do anything else. So typically I do that. If I could before that, I would typically, how it lined up is Stripe is who would have the ability to take another action, and he would carry himself and Billy just to kind of line up a probability control if we needed it. I liked carrying him because I knew that Billy was a little more durable than Zatanna. And then what I would typically do is the next turn, Stargirl would carry Zatanna so that they could get there and nobody'd have to take push clicks or anything like that. I never had to do anything that wasn't that. Yeah, that was the general strategy. You have Billy to TK people in and out of danger if you need to. He's also there to absorb whatever theme probs. That's pretty much what Stargirl did too. Stripe was a really good secondary attacker. Those three ended up being good first string attackers, and Zatanna was a good backup attacker. It just took me a minute to get in a groove with her, where basically it was Billy was kind of acting as her pseudo running shot. So the map that I played, if I won map, I never didn't run on Ancient Hold. All my ranges max out at a 6. So I don't need long lines of fire or anything like that. And it really cut down on a bunch of opponents' shenanigans because I'm just an up-close attacker. Once I get there, I attack. Maybe I can block you in a doorway with, how I position my figures or something like that so that you have to go around or something like that. But the other thing that I had was WWE Arena. And I think I had Yancey Street or something just so I had a third map. But the arena was just there in case I needed to travel coast to coast turn 1. And, there was no real point in trying to cut down on my own mobility. That's what I would do. So you guys let me know what you think of this team in the comments below. I always enjoy reading that stuff. Like I said, this is the exact team I ran both times. For singles, I went 3-2. Although my one loss, I missed 4 hypersonic breaks where I needed a 1. And I would have won had I made any of those. And then Team Nationals, I did pretty terrible. I wasn't able to hit, even with 14s, I wasn't able to hit. So, sometimes it's just the dice are that way. There's nothing you can do about it. But I had a lot of fun. This is a really good team. I would really consider running them again. You guys let me know what you think of this team in the comments below. I always find that stuff interesting. That's all I have for you today. As always, please remember that it's only critical miss if you don't have probability control.